Iguodala up for the layup. Oh, blocked by Jordan. Open. Chicago.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of All in the Mix. I got my guy Tyler here with me like always, and today we have a very special guest, 5'6"2's finest, Eastern Washington guard, Jacob Davison, my brother. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How about you?
Doing good. So let's just hop right into it. I know it's gonna be. I mean, we obviously have known each other for I don't even know how long now, like going on like 7-8 years almost.
Yeah.
You want to tell the people how we met? Because I think our stories are kind of like I don't really remember exactly. I want to say it was like either Instagram or like the YMCA.
It was Instagram. It was both. So it was like we like met on Instagram. Like you followed me, I think, and then I followed you back, and we just started kind of like talking through Instagram, and then you were like, "Let's hoop someday." I was like, "All right, for sure." So I hit you up. And then we ended up going to the Y, and then here we are.
It was funny because we had no idea. And Tyler, I don't know if I told you this. Me and Jacob used to live like half a mile from each other.
Bro.
And we had no idea. Like,
yeah.
And then we were like, oh, like, where are you trying to hoop at? And we were like, oh, like, let's go to Lakewood YMCA. And I'm like, there's a YMCA in Lakewood? And I went there and I'm like, man, this is close as hell to my house. And he was like, yeah, me too. I live down the street. And I'm like, oh, man. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So your at name on a lot of your social media is White Man Can Jump. You wanna give us and the people some background about why you chose that and what that means to you?
So I love the movie White Men Can't Jump, like
Top
classic
movie.
basketball movie. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's kind of true, that statement, but I feel like I'm a little bit of a different case. I can jump a little bit, so I thought might as well make it White Man Can Jump. And so I love it. I mean, people recognize my name and they recognize me as the White Man Can Jump guy. So it's like, I love it. I love it.
It's funny like to actually read it and like see that and you're like, wow, this dude is a clown. And then you like and then you see the videos, you're like, oh, he's for real. Like like this white guy can jump just a little bit. So a little bit more about you. Long Beach, born and raised, like I said, 5'6" guy. You were born to some of my favorite people on this planet, Brad and Leslie. Top tier parents, great people.
For sure.
And something that a lot of people don't know, which is like kind of like a random fact about you, you actually got a tattoo of it. You're an Eagle Scout, right?
I am.
So talk to us a little bit about what that means to you and why you decided to get into the Scouts at around the age that you did.
So I actually was in Cub Scouts, like the beginning of the beginning, like from like step one.
Was I? Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I was in Tiger Cub, everything. My dad put me in it, and I went through Cub Scouts, and I loved Cub Scouts. It was a blast. It was with your boys, and so it was a fun time. And then once I got into Boy Scouts, the first couple years were cool, and then I started to get more into basketball, and I started to like not really care about Boy Scouts as much. I was trying to go like hoop or go practice or something instead of going to a Boy Scout meeting. And my dad, thank God for my dad, because he told me, he was like, I'm not letting you like quit this. Like I quit it, and I wish I had a parent that would push me through it. So I'm not letting you do that, because I was so close to finishing, and I was like, nah, I'm done. Like I don't want to do this. My dad told me no. So I ended up getting my Eagle Scout, and I'm so thankful that he made me finish. It's one of the like one of the things I'm most proud of. Like I absolutely love it. I got it tattooed on me, and it's actually funny because it brings up a lot of stories and conversations. I've had like 2 instances, one at Utah. I think it was my freshman year. I was on the court, and a fan courtside just starts talking to me. He's like, hey, are you Eagle Scout? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, me too. I'm like, oh, sick. Like, that's awesome.
Wow.
Then, same thing happened at Weber State. It was a guy on Weber's bench. I was in their corner, and he was just like, yo, are you Eagle Scout? I was like, yeah. He's like, me too. I was like, no way. And then after the game, like, we ended up talking about our final projects that we did for it. So it was actually like really cool. It was a really cool experience.
Wow, that's really awesome. Dang, man.
That's
Yeah.
cool. And then what you were in high school when you got to be an Eagle Scout, right? Was that your
Yeah. So,
was that your sophomore year?
no, it was my junior year.
Junior
Junior year,
okay.
because you have to get it before you're 18,
Right.
and I turned 18 going into my senior year.
That's right. That's right. So, perfect segue into your high school career. If people don't know, you went to Cantwell Sacred Heart in Montebello, California. We were this close to being teammates, but that's a story for another time. You graduated 2016. A little bit about your accolades coming out of high school. You were ranked number 35 in the state of California, which is pretty impressive. Only a 2-star though, which we can all argue that was pretty bullshit. Your senior year though, you really came onto the scene, man. You averaged 24, 8, and 5. We're just absolute monster your whole senior year. You're the Whittier Daily News Player of the Year, SoCal Prep Legends Fan Choice Player of the Year. I remember campaigning for you so hard for that one. It was a proud moment for me as like your friend and everything too. That was super cool.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So-
That was the big
All the support.
accolades.
That was important, and that was huge. Of all my, even you and all my other boys just supporting, that was huge of them. So thank you for that.
That was awesome. But to rewind a little bit, early in your high school career, people don't know you were in varsity all 4 years, right?
No.
So when did you actually get some good minutes in varsity? Was it your sophomore year, your junior year?
It was my junior year. I played JV my freshman and sophomore year, but whenever our JV season ended and we went into playoffs, I
got pulled up.
Yeah. So it was me and a couple other teammates got pulled up every year, and it was awesome. It was a great experience. We ended up playing Mater Dei in the first round of the Open Division, and we ended up losing in overtime, which is another story. But it was a great experience. But I didn't get my first real opportunity on varsity until going into my the summer of going into my junior year.
Awesome. So a little bit more about your the high school background for AAU. You played for Earl Watson Elite, which is now West Coast Elite, run by our guy Ryan Silver. Shout out Ryan Silver. You had the same coach as Kentwell.
I did.
Our guy George Sedan. So what was it like playing for George in high school, and then that transition from playing for him in high school? Because obviously, at Cantwell, you were that guy, right?
Yeah.
Going on to AAU, you were playing in the Under Armour circuit, high level team, and for not to be disrespectful by any means, you weren't that guy on that.
Oh
team.
no, not at all. I was just about to say, I think I averaged maybe 2 minutes a game on Earl Watson Elite.
Right.
Our team was stacked. We were ranked, I think, top 10 in the nation. We were a really, really good team.
That team was crazy.
Crazy. But we, it was actually really interesting to see the difference in high school George and travel ball George. It was super easy playing for him for travel ball just because I knew what I was already in and getting myself into. I knew George. I knew his craziness. I knew everything that was coming my way. It was super easy for me because I understood that, but the other guys had a really tough time with it. And so I was just you guys need to just stop complaining. I deal with this 24/7. This is nothing.
I see this guy every day.
Exactly. And even to this day, I still get nervous when I see George. I don't know why. He's not my coach anymore. He literally doesn't do anything. But anytime I see him, I get nervous. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
He is by far the most one of the most intimidating coaches I've ever been around in my entire life. I personally,
I played for 40 years.
And it's funny for me because I never played for him, but every time I saw him, I was like, damn, this Coach George over there.
Dude, yeah, he was always on one.
So coming out of high school, you had one offer. It was Eastern Washington, where you're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is?
I think I was just overlooked, just like a lot of players are. They're just kind of overlooked and overshadowed. And I played in a good league. We had Bishop Montgomery, Cathedral, and we had a lot of guys that were that went on to play high Division I or even overseas from those schools. And so with that, it was just really it was really hard just to kind of get the proper looks. And so I was just thankful that I had Eastern Washington come in, because I mean, it's been the best situation and the best opportunity I've ever had. So it was interesting to only have one offer, but I'm happy I only had one offer at the same time.
Absolutely. And I remember going back to high school, me and you would talk all the time, like, man, this is crazy. There's no way that this dude only got one. Because, like,
Yeah,
just
35 in California. That's going way under the radar. That's crazy, man.
it's crazy because, like, seeing how much work that you put in high school and how much you worked your ass off every single day, I'm like, man, there's no way there's this many dudes better than you. It blew my mind, and I'm sure it took a toll on you for sure. But going back to that, obviously being grateful for having a scholarship anyways. Did you ever think to either go the prep school route or even take a even step further back and go the JUCO route?
I never really did. Not many people know this either, but I got held back in 8th grade for sports. So that was kind of like my prep year.
Right.
So I didn't really think anything of it. I think I would have thought more about it if I hadn't gotten anything towards the end of my senior year. I would have probably started thinking JUCO or prep.
Mhm.
But I was lucky enough that Eastern offered me in the beginning of my senior year, so I didn't really have to worry about that. And that's one reason why I think I averaged what I did, is because I had that weight off my shoulders that I didn't have to impress anyone. I was already signed and committed. I just got to go hoop and have fun and just be with my teammates. And so that made it super easy, and that just allowed me to play like free and easy. And it was just the results show for itself.
That you actually just answered my next question, because
Oh.
my next question was, so, obviously you had committed early on and signed early on. Was that just to, let me get this out the way just so I can hoop? Was that was that kind of your thought process, or was it like, I don't want to let this opportunity slip away just in case anything happens?
That came to mind a little bit, but also when I came on my official visit, I fell in love with Eastern and like the coaching staff up here. It was just like a perfect fit. I kind of knew right away that it was just going to be like the best spot for me. And so
Beautiful.
knowing that and coming back, I was like, there's no reason for me to wait for another school and then have Eastern maybe pull my scholarship. I don't think they would have, but I just had that going through my mind.
Yeah,
so
don't take that chance.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not taking that chance, especially with the spot that I think is the best spot for me. So I was like, I just committed right away, and it made it so much easier.
Absolutely. So moving on to your career over at Eastern Washington, you redshirted your freshman year to obviously get better, handle stuff in the classroom, do what you got to do off the court. So fast forward into 2017, 2018. You played in 34 of their games. You started in 7. How was it playing your very first year at a Division I school? Walk us through that first year and how it was for you mentally, how it was for you physically on the court, and just everything that went into playing your first year.
First off, I want to apologize for that train. I live close to the train track, so
I do too. Don't even trip.
It goes all the time. The first year was interesting. I played really well. The first couple games in, I played well in our Vegas tournament, and I actually earned myself a starting spot. And then it was just it was a weird like starting 5, just because we had Bogdan Bliznik, who was the MVP and our leading scorer, and he's an unbelievable player, one of my great friends too. But he had the ball in his hands a lot, and when I started, the way I play is I have the ball in my hands a lot, and so him being older and better, I didn't really have the ball in my hands a lot, so it was just kind of hard for me to get going and hard for me to find my rhythm. And so with that, I started for I think you said 7 games, and then I ended up coming back off the bench. And when I came off the bench, I was able to really find my rhythm, because when I would come in, it would be like, hey, give Jake the ball and let him kind of bring the energy into this and stuff like that. So once we kind of got everything situated and figured out, it was a really good and really fun freshman year, and it was definitely one to remember.
Nice. So moving on to the next season, 18-19. You started in pretty much every game the next year. Third team All Big Sky, even though you missed the last 10 games. I know you had. I think it was I want to say it was an ankle injury.
Yeah, I had an ankle injury beginning of the season and end of the season.
Oof.
Dang.
So
Yeah.
walk us through that second year, because obviously you're very acclimated already with the program, with how they do things, and I'm sure some of the older guys had graduated or gone off to do their own thing. So this was kind of your first chance to be like, okay, it's my turn.
Yeah. So
how was that?
We still had a couple of seniors that were there. Jesse Hunt was one of them, and he's a great guy. I love him as a teammate and everything. But during the beginning, we kind of clashed a little bit because he wanted the ball and wanted to score, and same thing with me. And so in the beginning, it was a little rocky, but once we figured it out, it was perfect. And I tell everyone this: when I had 41 against NAU, he's the reason that I had 41 against NAU. No one knows what happened, but I had like the first 11 points, and after I hit that last three, Jesse looked at me and told me, he said, "It's your game, go off." And that's all I needed to hear. I was like, okay, I just needed someone to let me loose. And so once that happened, I was able to to score and play how I normally play. But it was a lot of fun that year. We didn't get the result we wanted. We ended up losing in the championship to go to March Madness. Happened a couple years in a row, sadly, but that was a great team. It was definitely hard to watch the end of season because I was out for the last 10 games, like you said. But it was rough to watch. But I was happy with our team, and I was really happy with how we all played together.
That's awesome. And then, to add on to that year you averaged 15, 3 and 2, which is a crazy step up from, kind of in and out the rotation, in and out, on and off the court. And then you just, boom, I'm averaging 15.
Yeah, that's a big improvement.
And then like you said, that included your career high of 41 against Northern Arizona. Obviously, nobody was checking you that game. So, so last year, you started every game. Obviously, you're starting to be, that guy on the team. You're starting to be like, okay, you know what, I'm figuring it out. You averaged 18, 4 and 3. Second team All Big Sky. We can all argue that you should have been the first team, but whoever decides that, shout out to them. So and then COVID happened. So how did COVID affect you and your team's season, and kind of how did that affect, I guess, like I said, affect your guys' end of your season?
It was actually interesting. So we were on our way back from one of our last regular season games, and this is when COVID first started really hitting everywhere else. And we were all kind of joking and laughing about it because we didn't really think anything was gonna be like this. We didn't think we were gonna have a whole pandemic. And so we were joking about it, and we were like, no way it's gonna cancel our season, this and this. We ended up winning the regular season Big Sky champs, and then so we had to buy our first game, and we go to Boise, and we didn't even step foot on the court. We were in the lobby walking to our bus, and we get called to go into our conference room in the hotel, and they announced it, and they're like, yep, it's over. Since we got first in Big Sky, we technically got an automatic bid to the March Madness. So we were hyped. Everyone was super happy. And then I don't know, maybe an hour and a half later, everything got canceled. And so it sucked. We had a really good team last year, and we were so close to making it to the tournament. And that's been a dream since I first picked up a basketball. So to come that close and not get it really sucked, and it hurt. But I mean, we have the same exact opportunity this year. And so we'll see how we can handle it this year.
Absolutely. I always ask, the couple other college guys that I've had on the show, how COVID has affected, or how it affected their season last year. And everybody's story is kind of the same, but, everybody's they were either at an away game, they're about to play, and then boom, season's over, or they had just got back to their school, boom, season's canceled. It was just, it's so crazy to hear everybody's different perspectives and everybody's different views on what happened.
Them being first, going into the tournament and everything, that's
I'd be sick.
tough. That's
I'd be
brutal.
sick. I'd be sick.
Yeah.
And Jacob, I know how much you love the game and all that. So I know you were pissed.
Yeah, it hurt.
So let's talk about this here a little bit before we wrap up. You guys already had 7 games canceled. I'm assuming it's because of COVID protocols with either you guys or the other schools. And that's the case with just about every damn school in the country right now. But right now you guys are on a 9-game winning streak, which is pretty impressive. You guys are finishing out the year strong. You're averaging 11-3. You got a season high 31 against Southern Utah, hit 9 threes. I don't know, maybe after the first 3, they were like, oh, maybe he's going to miss. Tripping. So, how has this season been? Obviously you guys have different protocols than last year. How has it been with the protocols and difficulties with COVID?
It's been pretty difficult. It sucks because not everyone's on the same page. Not everyone, every place we go is different. Like when we played in Northern Colorado, we had to warm up with our masks on, and I was so like confused. It really like baffled me. I was like, what? How? What?
Yeah, it had to be weird.
Yeah, and it like logically and like common sense wise, it makes no sense at all. Like, you really want us to wear masks around our teammates, but then go and take the masks off to play against someone else? Like, what?
Yeah, it makes 0 sense.
Yeah, so that was weird. And then it's just been really crazy. We get tested for COVID 3 times a week, I believe. Yeah, and
that's rigorous. Oh my
god. Yeah, it's up the nose and everything. Like, it sucks. It's a lot. And it's just been hard because you never know what's going to happen, if it's going to get canceled. Like anytime we get tested, and like we have this thing called Breakfast Club, which is just like a workout before our weights and practice start. And so we get tested before that. And it happened today. We got tested, and then we're in the middle of our workout and our trainer walks out, and it's like a ball, or like a ball just in your stomach. Like, you just don't know why she's coming out here. And so like, you just have to ask, like, hey, are we good? And she's like, oh yeah, we're fine. I'm like, okay, thank God. Like, we're good. Like, okay. But you just never know what's happening. So it's just, that sucks. Just not really knowing and not being able to, yeah, you can't control anything. And so we've just been trying to kind of roll with the punches and just go with the flow and control what we can control. And so we'll see how the rest of the season like finishes out, but it's been odd with all this different protocol stuff.
I bet. So, Jacob, man, this is your senior year over at Eastern. What's next for you and your career?
I honestly could not tell you. I get asked that question a lot by family, by friends, just trying to figure out what I'm doing next year, and I honestly don't even know what I'm doing. I just got to wait till after season and figure it out, but hopefully it's going to work out for the best.
Yeah, it's okay not to have a plan,
Yeah.
It's all good. And that's a great answer to, stay focused on this year and everything that's going on right now. You don't want to start thinking outside of the box too much.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll get there when you get there.
Very great media answer right there, Jacob. You gave us absolutely nothing. Moving on to college basketball, Tyler's gonna fill us in about what's going on the past week because I have no clue, and I'm sure Jacob, you probably don't know a whole lot either, and neither do a lot of people watching this. So Tyler, fill us in, man.
Oh, I got something.
Go ahead.
Idaho in our league got their first win of the season last night.
It's their first win?
Yeah.
And it's February 28th?
1-17.
Wow.
Hey, yeah. Idaho, I have no plans of ever attending your school, so just know you're trash. All right, Tyler, go ahead.
Okay, so on Tuesday, number 7 Oklahoma got upset by an unranked 7-18 Kansas State team, 62-57. Yeah. As much as I talked about Oklahoma this year, this is bad. This is really bad.
Yeah, that's
The Wildcats are led by senior guard Mike McGraw with 19 points and 7 rebounds. And more to come on Oklahoma later. On Wednesday, number 20 Arkansas beat number 6 Alabama 81-66 with their freshman guard Moses Moody leading the Razorbacks by putting up 24 points and 5 boards.
Damn.
As well as they had their senior forward Justin Smith have 11 boards and 12 points for a double-double in that one. And then on Thursday, an unranked Colorado team upset number 19 USC pretty handily, 80-62.
Shout out my guy Evan Beatty.
Exactly.
Bro, that dude is so funny to watch, bro. He has so many emotions. It's so funny to watch. He's great. But yeah, they won 80-62. And Buffaloes were, of course, led by, in my opinion, one of the best guards in the country, McKinley Wright. Their senior had 15 points, and he also dished out 14 assists as well. Stepping up for the Buffs was also a surprising face in their senior transfer from Tulsa, Jariah Horn, who had 24 points and 11 boards in that upset win as well. A team that's had an outstanding week this week was the Michigan State Spartans. On Tuesday, they were able to upset number 5 Illinois 81-72. And the Spartans had senior guard Joshua Langford step up with 15 points and 16 boards as well. And they also had Aaron Henry with 20 points and 6 boards. I just got to flip the page here. And then on Thursday, they beat number 4 Ohio State 71-67. So they beat a number 5 and a number 4 team both this week. Michigan State's not ranked, but they're definitely making a push right now.
Yeah, they better be.
Yeah, they should be next week, hopefully. They're also led by Aaron Henry in that game with 18 points and 4 assists and 4 rebounds. So yeah, this Michigan State team, they're putting on a run when it matters most. And I would not want to see them as an opponent in March. So
Tom Izzo always gets the job done. It don't matter who's on.
Yeah, Tom Izzo teams are always.
No matter what their season is, like by the time March hits, they're usually on point.
They find a way to win every year.
They always get it together.
Yeah.
And in a huge upset yesterday, the number 17 Kansas Jayhawks took down number 2 Baylor 71-58.
So did.
That was a shock when I saw that because I seemed like Baylor's been dominant all year. That's only their second loss. So that's pretty crazy. Kansas was led by junior forward David McCormick with 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 blocks, as well as Marcus Garrett, their senior guard, who had 14 points and 7 rebounds as well. And then my player of the week, I've talked about him before. Freshman guard, Oklahoma State, Kade Cunningham.
Number 1
Oklahoma State had 2 huge wins this week, and it was mainly because of Kade Cunningham. So in an OT win against number 18 Texas Tech on Monday, Cunningham had 20 points and 5 rebounds. Then in another OT win yesterday over number 7 Oklahoma, as I mentioned, they would be talked about again. They lost twice this week. He had 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 steals. So yeah, Kade Cunningham is the real deal.
Oh my God, bro.
As I talked about him before, you know, what can I say? I think we're gonna be talking about him more. Man. We're just gonna keep talking about him. He's legit.
6'8" point guard, and he's big as shit too, man. Like
it's boards, yeah. He doesn't really do a whole lot of assists. That's probably the one thing as a point guard, but he doesn't really need to because he scores 40. So yeah, but he's definitely propelling his team into the conversation going into March, and that Big 12 tournament's gonna be very interesting with Oklahoma State. And then I pulled a highlight of the week. So I wanted to shout out the school that I'm going to right now, not for basketball or anything, just for school. Fresno State's Deion Stroud threw down a 360 dunk against UNLV, and if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely check it out. It was crazy. It was on a fast break, and they also got the win against UNLV. So shout out to the Bulldogs.
Paul George.
Yeah.
Hey, another Bulldogs, man. Shout out to the school out by you, Jacob. The Gonzaga's undefeated this year. They did not lose. They were 29-0, something like that.
Yeah, There's
only one thing I would say about that. I love Gonzaga. Gonzaga's like amazing, obviously. They're great. They have a ton of talented players, but they don't play in a great conference. That's like the only knock I would say. But yeah, they're legit when they do play other teams as well. So
Oh yeah, they're something else, dude. We played them last year and they're just next level, bro. They're next level.
Yeah, Gonzaga is another one of those schools that every single year they're gonna be a number 1, 2, 3.
oh yeah,
team
I know.
every
Sports
single
Center's
year.
calling them America's team now. Like I didn't know they were America's team like that. So
Yeah, because Duke ain't shit, but
Yeah, it's been a rough year for Duke and UNC.
my lord.
because they have a down year.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Hey,
So
hits everyone differently.
right. Moving on to the NBA. I'll start off with some news. Get into people who got waived and then got signed again by the same team. And then top performers, go over a team to watch, some rookies. And then we'll get you out of here because I know you are a very busy man these days.
No worries. Thank you though.
So start off with some news. I talked about this guy, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. Malik Beasley has officially been suspended by the Minnesota Timberwolves 12 games with no pay due to him pleading guilty to a felony charge of threatening to commit a crime of violence for the purpose of terrorizing another person. That is the official felony charge. Jacob, I don't know if you know how that happened or kind of what went into
I do not. No, I'm off social media right now, so I don't really know
facts.
Hey, good
what
for
happened.
you.
Thank
Not
you.
easy to do.
It's not. I still got Snapchat because I talked to my sister and my friends and family and stuff and my girlfriend. But yeah, everything else I don't have. I don't really care about it during the season. So I don't know anything about anything. So like fill me in, please.
All right, so I'll do a little bit quick story about what happened with this whole Malik Beasley situation. So I think it was September. He was at his house in Minnesota with his wife. A family pulled up to his house. They were house hunting, right? They pulled up to the wrong house for a few reasons. And they pull up to the house, and I guess he comes outside, big ass dude, shirtless, all these tattoos, comes outside with an assault rifle. And,
shit.
And, yeah. And,
yeah.
And check this out, bro. And check this out.
This was crazy, bro.
So he points it at them and is like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Yada yada yada. And keep in mind, this is a mom and dad and their 13-year-old son. So you can imagine these people are completely fucking terrified.
Yeah.
Because obviously, Malik Beasley's not one of those guys you see and you're like, "Oh, that's Malik Beasley."
Oh
It
yeah,
could be-
no,
it
you
could
don't
be
know
any
what that is.
big ass mother, out there. So I guess they had called the cops and they came to his house, blah, blah, blah. They found a bunch of guns and drugs and all types of shit, right? The shit that you're supposed to have as an NBA player. And I guess part of his pleading guilty was he has to serve 120 days in jail, but he's not going to actually go to jail. It's after the season. He's going to be on house arrest for 120 days.
It's easy.
And then he has probation for 3 years with no drugs or alcohol, gets tested daily. Yeah, right. So can't smoke weed, can't drink nothing.
3 years.
And he has a lifetime ban on ever owning a gun ever. He can never own a gun ever again the rest of his life. So this dude just completely fucked off, his entire whatever he was trying to do in the offseason. Yeah, man, he's got some shit going on.
Yeah, he's a little crazy.
But hey, Malik Beasley, if you ever see this, I would love to have you on the show. I don't mean to be rude.
Agreed, absolutely.
I would love to talk about it.
You're an amazing player, bro. You've been going crazy.
Yeah, man, good for you. So moving on to the All-Star reserves were announced the other day. Some people got snubbed. A lot of people think the people got snubbed. Some people got selected that were a little questionable. And we're going to get to that because, there is somebody that I am not a fan of that got selected to the All-Star team. We will get there. So starting with the East, Jaylen Brown, obvious pick. James Harden, duh. Julius Randle, first time. Good for him. He's been going absolutely nuts.
Yeah, he deserves that.
Very good for him. Big time.
Yeah, good for him. He deserves it, working his ass off. Ben Simmons, of course. Jason Tatum, Nikola Vuchevich, monster year. And then Kevin Durant is not playing, so they put in Domantas Sabonis,
Well deserved.
who I think should have made it anyways.
Definitely should have made it. Yeah.
And also Jason Tatum is going to replace KD in the starting five. I don't know if anybody saw that. And of course, my guy Zach Levine got selected to the All-Star team. Well deserved.
Yes.
Also, if I could say that Jacob plays like anybody, it's Zach Levine.
Thank you. That's why I try to model my game
out there. Exactly. He's also from the Washington area. He's from, I think,
he is. Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I have some friends that went to high school with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome,
cool dude. Good, great family. Just super cool guy. Moving on to the West, Donovan Mitchell. This is an obvious pick. Chris Paul, year 17, man. This is just awesome for Chris Paul. He's
ongoing.
It's still going. I think right now he's the best player on Phoenix. You could debate about that for a minute. Zion Williamson is getting his first All-Star appearance this year. Also well deserved. He's having a monster year as well, carrying that team. Devin Booker, who is replacing Anthony Davis, who got selected to the team. I think Devin Booker should have made it anyways.
I think a lot of people think he got snubs, and it's nice to see he actually was able to get in still.
And you know what's funny about Devin Booker? Both times he's been an All-Star, he's been an injury replacement both times. So he really hasn't been selected to a team.
That's so proud, dude.
Yeah,
that's tough.
It's probably for a couple reasons. The Suns have, I'm not going to disrespect my home city and state. They have not been the best. They have not been the best the past couple of years. Paul George got selected to a team. I'm not a Paul George fan, but he's having a hell of a year this year. Damian Lillard, who I think should have been a starter. A lot of people thought he should have been a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And the last guy, I talk a lot of shit about this guy on my show, Jacob. Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert was selected to the All-Star team yet again.
This just keeps happening, bro.
Obviously, he got it because they're technically the best team in the league right now, the Jazz. And we obviously, looking at this, we needed another big man, I guess. So they were like, fuck it, throw Rudy Gobert in there.
That's the big man you pick out of all the Western Conference centers.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, you got Nikola Jokic, you got.
He's a starter.
He's a starter.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I was about to say, come on, man.
Oh, right, oh God.
But I mean,
who the hell is he paying?
You still got Whiteside, Hassan Whiteside. He's not bad. No, he's not having good.
He's playing like 5 minutes a game right now over in Sacramento.
See, I told you I'm not caught up on anything.
Yeah, no, don't even.
He's really out of the loop.
But yeah, you know what? Good for Rudy Gobert. Just another accolade to put on your Wikipedia, man. Good for you. Moving on to the people that got waived. I'll start with this one. This is a big one. We talked about this last week because it was going to happen. It was leading up to the couple of days. Demarcus Cousins has been officially waived and cleared waivers by the Houston Rockets. He is clear to sign with any team. I did hear that I don't really have sources. I just read this shit on Twitter and Instagram. So whenever you say, I read, I don't know anybody. DeMarcus Cousins will probably not be back with the Lakers. There's really no reason for that. So hopefully, he gets to a good team that's a contender. I will get to the Houston Rockets a little bit later in the show because they are poo-poo. So, hopefully DeMarcus Cousins, gets a good turnaround and plays for a good team. He deserves it. He's been working his ass off the past couple of years. The Phoenix Suns waived backup center Damian Jones, who 2 days later was signed to a 10-day with the Lakers. Lakers, what the fuck? Why?
That was very weird. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, what do we need it for?
I don't know. Good for him. He got himself a customized Lakers jersey, so that's cool. The Nets waived Andre Roberson, who they just signed to an end-of-the-year contract last week. They waived Iman Shumpert and Noah Vonleh, but then they re-signed Andre Roberson and Iman Shumpert the very next day. I don't know what this reason was. I think it was something to do with salary.
There was something you had to do in order to save some type of something like cap space or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Sean Marks is a genius, so somehow this is going to work out good for them. So a guy that I'm not a huge fan of, but call him what you want, but you make sure you call him a champion. Quinn Cook has been also waived by the Los Angeles Lakers. They have 2 open roster spots. Anybody from the Lakers organizations that sees this, I am 25 minutes from Staples Center. All my information is in the bio. Let me know if you need me for a 10-day. I'm ready. Anyways, moving on to more signings. Pau Gasol is back. Pau Gasol, he is not in the NBA, unfortunately. Has signed with his original team when he first started off being a pro when he was a young cat with FC Barcelona. Pau Gasol, I believe he's in his early 40s now. He's healthy. I don't know if you guys have seen videos of him working out. Jacob, obviously, probably not.
I saw a little bit when he was helping out with the Spurs. He's still a bucket.
Yeah, he's still a bucket. He's got great footwork. One of the best, one of my favorite post players ever. So good for him. I'm glad he's back out there. And I know he said that Kobe's passing was a big inspiration for him to, want to keep pushing. So hopefully hopefully this leads to him possibly getting a coaching job or a player development job in the NBA soon, or even, the Lakers bring him in for a 10-day in the finals and, he gets one more. I think he deserves it. Pau Gasol is one of my favorite people, not only one of my favorite players. He's
just a great overall human being.
Guy in general.
Awesome guy. So moving on to my top performers of the week. I will start with this guy who is an all-star this year. Nikola Vuchevich had himself a hell of a week, even though the Orlando Magic are not very good. They beat the Detroit Pistons and he had 37, 12, and 3. The next night, they played the Pistons again, and they lost. He had 29 and 4. Then they played the Brooklyn Nets. The 2 days after that, he had 28, 12, and 2. Then they lost to the Jazz. Of course, the Jazz are just unbelievable right now. He had 34, 8, and 4. He's having a monster year. But Vooch is always pretty solid for a big man.
Yeah, he always gets good stat lines.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think he gets overlooked because he does play for such a shitty team. So hopefully he gets to a better team in the near future, so he's able to contend.
Yeah, there are definitely rumors. Not to cut you off, there are definitely rumors that him and Aaron Gordon, they are probably gonna let them go and go in a different direction. So I don't know.
Get them the fuck out of there, man. Orlando Magic are. I don't want to speak too much on them because they're just garbage. Moving on to the next person, first-time All-Star, second-year player, Zion Williamson, has been very impressive this week. The Pelicans, not so impressive, but himself, he's doing really well. They beat the Celtics. He had 28, 10, and 4. Big game for him. They beat the Pistons. He had 32, 6, and 5. Took an L to the Bucks. He had 34, 8, and 6. They lost to the Spurs. He had 23, 14, and 5. Zion Williamson is just a monster. I don't know if you guys have seen the video. I think they played the Kings a few days ago. I don't know if you guys know who Rashawn Holmes is. He's a pretty big dude on the Kings. Zion Williamson bodied him so hard from the free throw line. That man went to the fucking baseline.
It was disgusting.
Put him on his ass. Zion Williamson is just a monster. He's having the career and season that everybody has been hyping up about and talking about. So good for him, and hopefully, he continues this and has a just awesome career.
He has the second most 30-point games, I think, through like the first 55 games or something like that. Some crazy stat.
What the fuck? Moving on to my pick for the most improved player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is having himself a crazy year.
I love watching Shai Glizzy play. Love him.
He's such a smooth operator out there. He's just nasty. This week, 31, 4, and 9 versus the Cavs, 27, 2, and 5 versus the Heat. Then he exploded for 42, 8, and 4 against the Spurs. Then they played the Hawks, and he had 24, 5, and 4. Last night, didn't do so hot because they got blown out by like 30 by the Nuggets. He didn't really play that much. He had 13, 5, and 6. But other than that game, he had himself a hell of a week, and he's having a hell of a season. SGA is just a monster, and everybody saw it coming from when he was at Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to have himself a very long career, and I know he's in Oklahoma City's plans to rebuild and try to make that team, something. Hopefully for his sake, that doesn't last too long.
Not in those plans.
Yeah, hopefully he's not trying to be in those plans, but if he is, hopefully I know the Thunder have like a grocery list full of draft picks for over the next like 7 years. So hopefully, you know, they come up. Some rookies to watch out for. Another guy we talk about pretty much every week on the show, has not disappointed too much this year. LaMelo Ball had himself a week yet again. He had 21, 7 and 4 against the Jazz, 24 and 8 against the Suns, and then they played the Warriors, I believe, 2 nights ago, and he had 22, 7 and 6. You know, he's obviously my and Tyler's, Tyler and I's rookie of the year. He's had himself a hell of a year. Ever since he's been inserted to the starting lineup, he just hasn't slowed down. And
he's super fun to watch. If you ever watch it.
Super fun to watch, and his highlights are, you know, just awesome. Great kid, super young kid. I believe he's either 18 or just turned 19. Hopefully, you know, he continues this the rest of the year. The Hornets are in the playoff contention. I've said this before, just because you're in the playoff contention does not mean you're in the playoffs. Even if you are in that, you know, 5 to 8 seeding in the playoffs, you really aren't going to be there because you're going to end up playing against, you know, a team like Miami or Boston or Brooklyn. And then
the East records are sad for sad. Like from like 5 down is just
it's really weird. Another guy, I picked a guy from the West this week. Somebody that I was a huge fan of when they were in college. Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton has been having a hell of a year for the Kings. He's been pretty consistent. He had 23, 5 and 8 versus the Bucks, 23, 5 and 9 versus the Nets, and 17, 4 and 4 versus the Knicks. They did lose all those games, but you know the
Kings.
There's not a whole lot you can do when you play for the Kings. You know, hopefully, you know, he continues this. He's a guy that is on the rise for you know, a rookie of the year, but I think it's going to be pretty hard to fuck with LaMelo Ball in that case. But he's obviously a first team all rookie guy for me, anyways. And he's going to have himself a great career. He's a good young guy. Can shoot the hell out the ball, defend. He can pretty much do whatever he needs. To some teams, I got quite a few teams. I got 3 teams that are good. One team that I want to talk about first because they are just absolutely have been just terrible right now. The Houston Rockets, for lack of a better word, they are ass. I'm sorry. Since Christian Wood has been out, they've lost 10 games in a row.
They don't have any. They have 0 bigs.
They have nothing. PJ Tucker is a 6'5" center.
They waived Demarcus Cousins. Their one big that they had. Like,
I don't know what they got going on.
Did Victor Oladipo and John Wall on like back-to-backs every time. So it's just like
you know, right now they're sitting at 14 in the West. They're the 3rd worst team in the NBA. They're obviously a lottery team right now. So I don't know if that's what their plan is to try to rebuild. Yeah, I mean, I assume that they're rebuilding. You know, they waived Demarcus Cousins, they traded James Harden, they got in a shitload of draft picks from the Nets and a bunch of other teams. But I really do feel bad for, you know, Tyler, you had mentioned John Wall and Victor Oladipo. Those guys are coming back from pretty nasty injuries the past couple of years. They're doing all they can, but you know, there's only so much you can do when you got 2 guys on the team, and then your third guy is, no disrespect, like your third guy is Daniel House,
or Eric Gordon.
Eric Gordon, you know, but I don't really see them leaving the bottom of the West this year. Maybe they'll get some good picks, get some good young guys, and start building what the Houston Rockets are supposed to be in the next few years, and hopefully that they come up. On to some positive things. Let's talk about some good teams. The Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets, I've mentioned probably like 3 weeks in a row now. They're led by Kyrie and James Harden right now because Kevin Durant is still out with that hamstring injury. They've won 8 out of their last 10 games. They sit at number 2 in the East, right by a half game behind the 76ers. I expect them to, you know, stay in that 1 or 2 spot. They are just way too damn good. I know we had talked about their issues with depth and things like that, but
it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't fucking matter. Like you got 3 guys averaging 30. Like you got 80 to 90 points out of 3 people. All you need is like a couple other people to score like 5 or 6 points. You're probably gonna win the game. good for them. You know, I don't want to spend too much time talking about them. Everybody knows how damn good they are. All you got to say is 3 names, and you're like, yep, they're good.
Yep.
Miami Heat, they were struggling early on, the beginning of the year. You know, they had guys out with COVID and injuries, and you know who knows what else was going on over there. They've won 5 in a row, 7 out of their last 10. They're led by, of course, Jimmy Butler, who's averaging 28 and 8 and 2 steals. Just Jimmy being Jimmy. Bam Adebayo, who I think was an all-star snub as well. He's averaging 20, 10, and 5. Yeah, Bam Adebayo should have definitely been an all-star. NBA, what's going on, man?
He's something else, man.
Yeah, that's a big snub.
Yeah, big snub. Third-year guy, Kendrick Nunn, has been really stepping up this year, averaging 14, 3, and 3 in the absence of Goran Dragic. I don't really know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's injured or sick.
He's back now.
Oh, he's back? Okay. Yeah, I know he was out for.
He just played like his first game just this last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then see, you know, then the Heat are going to be right back on track. Tyler Hero, another guy that I'm a huge fan of. Shout out to my guy, Tyler Hero. He's in his second year, averaging 17, 6, and 4, having himself a hell of a year. Usually guys have a little fall off in their second year, but he's picking up right where he left off last year. Right now they're sitting at the 7 seed. I don't really see this lasting too long. Like I said, they had struggled early on because of injuries and COVID and whatnot, but I see them ending up somewhere in between the 3 to 6 range, seed wise. Because literally their team is the same as last year.
Yeah.
They have the same roster, same guys. So, you know, the Miami Heat are going to be just fine. I want to talk about the Phoenix Suns real quick right before we hop into these last questions. They've won 8 out of their last 10. They're sitting at the 4 seed right now. I would love for them to stay, you know, in the top 5 in the West. But, you know, sadly, I do see them falling maybe to like 6, 7, 8, 9.
They might be able to sustain it, but yeah, most likely
maybe
will drop a
maybe. The thing about that team, they are not deep at all. They're not deep at all. They're led by Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, who those guys are having great years. Despite those 3 guys, obviously those are 3 huge pieces to have on a team. If you just, you know, just the names, not even talking about stats, those are just names that you want on a roster.
Yeah.
I think that they're maybe a piece or 2 away from being a real contender, not just a playoff team. Because being a playoff team, I've said this before, is one thing, but being in the playoffs is a whole different ball game. You're trying to compete with like the Lakers and you know the Clippers and the Jazz and whatnot. So
yeah, you gotta have depth.
I feel like they gotta have like 1 or 2 guys that are like a lot better come off the bench. Just
they need some help from the bench for sure.
Produce right when they get in, because when you take those 3 guys out, like even if you take one of them out, it just drops, and you can't have that, you know.
Absolutely, I agree. And you know, no disrespect to the guys that they have playing the 3 and 4 positions. They have like Mikal Bridges and
Bridges is doing well. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like his game.
Absolutely, I love his game too. But I think you know you need people. You need some. I don't want to say you need Kawhi Leonard on that team because that's not going to fucking happen. You need somebody like a Kawhi Leonard who can defend and get buckets immediately. Because I don't, you know, to me, Devin Booker, obviously he's a straight bucket getter. His defense is kind of here and there. To me, the only real defenders they have on that team are Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. And there's only so much that a year 17 Chris Paul can do and a big guy can do down in the paint. I don't know if you guys caught them playing the Nets, but James Harden was absolutely giving Devin Booker the business in that game. Like, something crazy, bro. Like, he was really frying him. So I think that they need somebody that.
But in his defense, James Harden can fry anyone. So.
Oh no, absolutely. But like, it was like it almost looked like there was like zero effort in like the it was like this dude scored like 13 straight in the 4th quarter.
And the thing is, they don't have anybody to pair with DeAndre Ayton. They don't have like another big guy like that that's gonna like be able to do other things when it's just him. Like
he's the one that protects the rim, but he also needs to do other stuff. And you need another big to protect the rim. You need a good power forward to be exactly. And so for him not to have another one there, that's kind of makes it a little difficult on him.
I agree with you, Jake, because you know DeAndre Ayton obviously is a rim protector, big, cover the paint. And then you also want him to run the floor and run to the rim. He's young, but that kid's gonna get tired, man. Like you're gonna need somebody else to hold
Played
you
a
down.
ton in college, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have somebody help him out defensively. So like I said, good for the Phoenix Suns. Hopefully that they keep it up, and it would be very nice to see them in the playoffs yet again. I know it's been some years, so good for them. Hopefully, like I said, they keep it up. So that wraps up our NBA portion of the show. Jacob, we got some quick fun questions for you before we let you go. The first one is your basketball Mount Rushmore. So that what that means is, you think of, 4 to 5 guys that you think of and you're like, this is basketball.
So we got, okay, does it have to be players, or it can be coaches as well?
Whatever you want.
Okay, well then I'm going to go Kobe, MJ, Phil Jackson, John Wooden.
I love that, John Wooden. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
No one ever talks about that.
Come on, man. He's the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
Statistics show everything. He destroys everyone.
Numbers do not lie.
No.
And it's funny. It's funny that you actually threw coaches in there, because that is the first for us. Yeah. That is the first, because usually we get Kobe, Mike, LeBron, Shaq, and then either AI or Steph Curry every single time.
Yeah.
Because obviously you think of who inspired the game, who changed the game, whatnot. So that was super cool.
But I think the coaches are the ones that do a lot of that stuff too. And Phil Jackson's arguably one of the best NBA coaches of all time. And
absolutely, they deserve their respect. Yeah.
John Wooden is hands down the best college basketball player or college coach of all time. And so I was just I don't know, when you think of basketball, you think of players and coaches. So you got to throw some coaches in there.
Love that. So the next question is, you take yourself and 4 other people to any court in the world and you're not losing. Who are those 4 other guys you're taking with you? It could be people could be NBA players, could be whoever, anybody.
Okay, I got Kobe. So that's 2. I got Shaq. I gotta bring my boy Jake Wiley. He was he was a senior my freshman year, and he was Division I NCAA Player of the Week, of all Division I, because he had 36, and then that he broke his career high that night and got 36. And then the next game we played, which was 2 days later, him and my teammate both had 45, and he averaged 38 and 12 that whole week.
Wow.
Yeah, and now he's I don't know where he's at right now. I think he's in Greece, but he's been playing in a bunch of different countries. But he's one of the nastiest, most aggressive, high IQ players I've ever played with. So I'd have to bring him, and then I'd probably bring AI. I can't think of another point guard off the top of my head, but I had to throw Jake in there because I love playing with Jake. Jake's he makes you such a better player all around.
Very tough. That is a very. I would not want to get on the court with those
a solid ass line.
No, thank you. So we got one more basketball question for you, and then we got 2 more just kind of random.
Yeah.
NBA predictions. Who's coming out of the East? Who's coming out of the West? And who's winning that finals matchup?
I honestly think it's gonna be Lakers Nets, and I'm always rocking with my Lakers.
Thank you.
No matter what.
This is not a Lakers podcast for the 9th time. I've been accused multiple times of being a Lakers fanboy podcast for 100 months. Sick of that shit. All right. So obviously same answers over here. And if it's not Brooklyn, it's either going to be Boston or Miami or one of those teams. Definitely not the Milwaukee Bucks. Are you? I know you were really big into gaming, right? So aside from gaming, is there anything that you're binge watching that you want to put people onto, and is there any music that you're listening to that that's caught your ear recently?
Okay. The music, I don't know if you know Amine.
Yeah. Portland guy.
His album Limbo, I've just been rocking with that. That's one of my favorite albums out right now. So I've been listening to a lot of him. But binge watching, man, I feel like what I binge watched, people have already seen. Like right now, me and my girl hasn't seen How I Met Your Mother, so I'm putting her through that.
Oh, top tier.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That show is dumb funny.
So funny. And then like she also hasn't seen Blue Mountain State, so I'm putting her through that. Yeah, that's a good one. She loves that. She loves that one. I think that's so funny. That show is so funny.
Hilarious.
That's a must watch if you're an athlete, honestly.
Oh, for sure. But then I'm pissed because I would always binge watch like no matter what, The Office. But then Netflix had to go on.
It's gone now.
Be assholes and take it off. So I mean, right now I just watch a lot of another one. My girl has been making me watch America's Next Top Model. But honestly, that's not a bad show. Like it's actually kind of funny. Like it's actually kind of funny.
You know what? I have seen that one a few times. I don't know if you guys watch like TLC at all, but like, bro, that show 4 Weddings is hilarious. Hilarious show. I don't watch it by myself. Just to clarify, I don't watch it by myself. But I know you I had said that you're a big time gamer nowadays. What are you playing?
Honestly, bro, I've only been playing Fortnite, man.
Like Fortnite.
Yeah, cause
Fortnite grind.
Exactly. Like right when I got decent at Fortnite, everyone
got really good.
And I was like, dude,
that's exactly how I was, bro.
I was like, I'm not about to switch and have to start from square one again.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not happening. And so I was like, I'm just riding this out. And so I've just been rocking with Fortnite. And that's just what I do. And it's fun though, like, cause I'll play with friends like Mitchell and Patrick. Like I'll play with them, and like we just like we'll be on there for like an hour and a half, and that's just how we catch up. Like we don't really like.
Yeah, it's really cool to be in a party and just talk too.
Exactly, dude. It's fun just being able to like chat with your boys and stuff.
I get that gaming deal. Yep.
I'm on PS4.
Hey, add me, bro.
Oh, I got you.
Yes, sir. I play for it.
Oh hell yeah, let's do it.
I gotta get you on that 5 Life, man. I gotta get you on that 5 Life.
Oh my gosh, I know, bro. I need
I wish.
Dude, it's too tough to get right now, though. It's like insane.
Hey, I don't even got the money for that right now.
I don't either.
Offer up. All right, last little thing. Is there anything or anybody you want to shout out? This is like your 10-15 seconds, shout your people out, talk your shit.
Yeah, just want to shout out my family for always being there and helping me through everything. Especially with just tough times and like when I'm down or anything like that, and especially with my girlfriend right now, Haley. She's been nothing but great. She's been helping me a lot through season, and she's just something special. So them, and then you guys too. Thank you for having me on. This is awesome.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. It's great getting to know you.
Yeah, you too. So thank you guys.
Absolutely. So that wraps up episode 7 of All in the Mix. Thank you, Jacob, for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. Like I said, next week we will be having a big fan of our show, friend of mine as well, former teammate of mine, founder and owner of Simple Brand, Jay Williams. He's going to be on for episode 8, talk about his brand, everything he's got going on in his life, and so yeah, stay tuned.
I said, don't forget to like, comment.